Yes, what's going on, people, man? Back in the building, you know the vibes already. We're here with another G's Journal. Liverpool versus Bournemouth. Obviously, we spoke already in the last episode and in previous episodes. We've spoken a lot about like Liverpool and, you know, on the transition and all that kind of stuff, right? Well, guess what? We're about to talk about that same shit again. Obviously, Liverpool running out 4-2 winners, right? And in terms of the attack and the attacking display that Liverpool obviously showed, really, really good. I liked it. I think, Ekatike, Florian Wirtz, you can see new players obviously coming in. You can see that they're linking up really, really well, right? So I don't think anyone's got a problem with them in terms of what they're trying to obviously do. Salah obviously got in the score sheet, but he was rubbish throughout the game. Gakpo, very average performance. A lot of defensive work, to be fair. But yeah, in terms of his overall performance, again, I thought just like Salah, quite poor in the game and outside of their goals. Again, the midfield, there's not really any highlight with the midfield ever. And the thing is, I don't even really mind that, to be honest with you. If I felt like the midfield was functioning, and just doing their thing, I don't think I would really care whether or not they had any highlights. But I think it's because both on and off the ball, again, midfield, I felt, again, quite poor. Defense, again, I mean, I find it so difficult sometimes, unless it's the centre backs is where sometimes I give a lie, because obviously they're in the middle of the park. Obviously, if they make individual mistakes, then of course, it's going to be on you. But when it's like stuff like playing on the transition and all these kind of things, I'm like, it's a bit difficult because you got people in front of you not doing their job. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to make your job difficult. Now you've got to then perform these kind of heroics and stuff like that. And is that always fair for me to have to judge you if I'm doing like tactical analysis, or even just like we're doing player ratings as an example? I find it difficult for me to be like, oh yeah, I can just judge you because this guy's not doing his job. So now you've got to almost do two people's job, at the same time. It's a bit difficult. So I find it difficult with that. Fullbacks, yes, I didn't think that they played well anyway within the game. Well, from an attacking sense, again, yeah, I thought they were fine, but defensively, no, I didn't really like the performance. And it's always difficult, man, with Liverpool, because I think this season, look, and listen, I predicted Liverpool to finish second or third, this season. I'm gonna go with third. I'm gonna go with third for now, anyway. That might change, obviously, throughout the season, with things obviously changing. But at the moment, just when I watch Liverpool, and listen, look, it's one game week, so everything is going to change anyway, regardless, in one way or another, whether it's Liverpool who changes or whether it's the other teams who obviously change throughout the season, or form or injuries and whatever. Something's going to change between now and the end of the season, right? But if I was just trying to predict the future, and obviously that's impossible to do, but if I'm going to go try and predict the future, the way that I'm watching Liverpool will score the most goals, I think, anyway, in the Premier League. I do not think that is going to be a problem for Liverpool. Where they will come unstuck is that they lack control. The problem with then lacking control is you lack control with your best team. So when you start bringing in, if you do get injuries, I think it's more peak for you than it is for the other guys. The other teams, so say Arsenal, for example, obviously we got to watch them against United. Arsenal going forward don't look that great to me anyway. I don't really feel like anything's really going on there. They look like a team that won't. They'll obviously score goals, obviously, throughout a season. And because they're one of the better teams, they're inevitably going to score more than other teams. But in terms of, if you're comparing it to like Liverpool, Manchester City, I don't feel like they would score as much as them unless, again, things change in the future. What they have over both Liverpool and Manchester City is that they have control. As we saw against Manchester United, to me, like overall, it was like a boring, poor display from Arsenal. Nothing really going on. But like just like with Liverpool last season, after a while, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and you keep playing in the same way, that's just your way of football. So it's like I had to get used to the way Liverpool played, because I can say it for the first, maybe up to like the first 10 games, like at max, yeah. Let's say 7 to 10 games. I can say, nah, I don't like this way of football. This isn't sustainable, blah, 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 whatever. Cool. You can say all of these words, right? But, after you get past that 10th game and they're still doing it, then eventually it's like, well, no, that's just the way you play now. Yeah, that is the way they play. So I now have to change the way in terms of how I analyze it, right? With Arsenal, I know it's just obviously game week 1, but they're kind of following on from what they did last season, which is slow, methodical, but they have control. Even when Arsenal go forward, you can see defensively, they look calm to me in terms of positionally. Now, obviously, people are going to point to Manchester United having chances. Yeah, individual mistakes. It's not through structure. I can deal with that. I can deal with that. If it's just individual mistakes, easy, because that's just personnel. You can swap out personnel just like that, not a problem. When it's a structural issue, that's a bigger problem. Like with Liverpool, it's a bigger issue. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's why I predicted Liverpool to finish where they're at. And that's kind of what I took from the game against Bournemouth, and also looking at the way Manchester City played against Wolves and the way that Arsenal played against Manchester United. Manchester City, you can just, it's just fluid. Like the rotation, it's just typical. Like it was literally a typical, this looked like a performance from 3-4 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Rotations in the midfield, players doing whatever they're doing. Like it was just mad. It was just mad, kind of thing. And the thing is, it wasn't, that didn't even look like them at their best. Like it looked like that was them at like 60%, do you know, 60, 70%, kind of thing. So that in itself should scare people, more than anything else, kind of thing. Because with them, I don't even think it's a question of really just gelling. It's just, yeah, it's just one of those, isn't it? Like over time, you'll just see that Manchester City should, and in theory, and again, I don't know, things can change. They could lose their next 3 games for all I know. But just in terms of what I saw, I was like, they should win more than most. If they don't, then that's on them. Then you just have to deal with it that way. But with Liverpool, you can tell that they're going to score goals. And in the Bournemouth game, 4 goals, 2-0 down, 2-0 up, peg back to 2-2, win the game 4-2. That's just Liverpool. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's kind of my thing, with Liverpool, and looking at it from that kind of lens, right? That kind of lens, should I say, right? But when we're looking, obviously, yeah, like I don't really know, like, how should I even start this? Okay, when Liverpool obviously have got the ball, you guys can obviously see here on the screen, right? They kind of then will set up in this almost like it's like a 2-4-4 almost, because you got like the 2 centre backs, and then the fullbacks obviously push up forward. So you got Frimpong on one side, Kirkes on the other side. They push up into that kind of midfield area to then go alongside the 2 pivot players. So McAllister, I think Zabozalai, and then obviously you got the forwards in that area, and then obviously again with Florian Wirtz and Ekatike, they're obviously moving around, etc., etc. My, would I say, somewhat issue with a structure like this, right, is that no matter what, and obviously this is just a risk, and every team plays with a risk, but we're focusing on Liverpool. My issue with formations, or when you set up like this, is this right here. You can see the 2 circled areas on the screen right now. That is always going to be a problem for me. It's going to always be an issue. The only, like, obviously, it's, you can combat it. If Liverpool were like Barcelona old school, or even just Barcelona of today, where they can keep the ball for ages, just pop it around and they move quickly, this wouldn't be too much of an issue for me, because you would just kind of look at it like how probably Slot looks at it right now, which is, okay, yes, we've got the space in those wide areas, and yes, if the opposition gets the ball, all they need to do is kick it long there. But when we have the ball, we're moving quickly. The rotations are happening a lot faster. The ball's moving a lot quicker. When Liverpool are like this, right, and you watch Liverpool against Bournemouth, I've seen it. We saw it against Crystal Palace. It's the same thing. You're moving the ball so freaking slow. What I will say, if you want to call this a positive, I can see Liverpool doing rotations now. Like I didn't really see it before, like maybe last season. I didn't really notice it that much. I saw rotations within the midfield and with the attack, mainly Florian Wirtz and Alexis McAllister, but I saw it. So I'm not gonna, say they're not trying to do that, right? So that part in itself is absolutely fine. That's cool. My issue is that your rotations, it's like watching a bunch of 60, 70-year-olds kickball. It's so fucking slow, bro. It is so slow. And I don't understand. Like, why, if you're gonna make the rotations, why are they so slow though? Like, they need to be quick. That's the point of the rotation, no? Like surely that's what I got taught anyway in football. And from when I speak to coaches, that's what they tell me. So I'm so baffled. I don't know if it, like, whether it's slot telling them to be slow, whether they are just slow at doing it because they don't understand, and maybe with time they'll be able to get it. I don't know, but it's so slow. And because it's so slow, when they do, opposition does get the ball, and everything we do is so freaking slow. But when opposition does get the ball, as we saw against Bournemouth, guess what? They can counter bang, 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 bang. And it's just quick for them. 2, 3 passes, they're already in on goal. And then it's just, kind of like a game over kind of situation. So that's the bit that obviously always confuses me, is that why do you do it so slowly though? Surely it should just be almost just fluid, instantaneous, like just bang, 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 bang. Everybody's moving, constant movement. I want constant movement. It's the only way you can shift teams, like a Bournemouth, by the way, who are a team that can set up in their defensive shape, and they can keep it tight if they need to. You need to move quickly. You have to always be on the move. Like you just have to. You cannot be doing it at slow. No, 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 no. It has to be done quickly. The top teams do it quickly. Top teams I've seen anyway, they do it all quickly. And it's constant movement. No one is standing still. Nobody. Bar maybe your centre backs. Cool. But the rest of the team moving like there's no man's business. Unless someone's obviously got the ball, kind of thing, and they're just trying to, pick a pass and etc. etc. So that obviously is one of the things when I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, that's gonna bug me anyway. And that's why Liverpool will probably concede the most out of the top teams anyway, kind of thing, in my opinion. I mean, I just can't see Liverpool keeping that many clean sheets. I just, unless it's up against like poor teams and stuff like that. But I just think if you had to watch how Liverpool play, how Arsenal play, how Manchester City play, and you're trying to figure out how can we score goals, yeah, Liverpool's the easiest, absolute easiest to play against in terms of scoring goals. Now, conceding them, yeah, I think Liverpool going to be the hardest. That I will say, in terms of like when opposition teams are looking at Liverpool and thinking, fucking hell, how do we stop that? Do you know what I mean? That's where I'm going to give Liverpool the credit, and I'm going to say, yes, Liverpool are going to be damn near impossible to score in 95% of games. 98 probably even anyway, because going forward, that kind of movement and the players that you got in those areas and the positions that they're able to take up in certain situations, they're good at doing that. I will give Liverpool that 100%. But defensively, they have to be the easiest out of the top teams. Arsenal probably the hardest, because I don't know how the hell at times it would take individual errors, and if they don't have individual errors on that game, in that game specifically, like how they did against Manchester United, you ain't breaking down Arsenal. I promise you. It will take set piece, long range effort, kind of thing, caught the keeper out, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that, as I mentioned before, and again, you can see it here with the goal that Liverpool obviously conceded, with Semenyo obviously scoring. This is why I don't like it, because this happens. This is all it takes, and it's not really difficult. Let's keep it a buck. It really isn't that difficult to be able to, to just pinpoint and be like, oh yeah, I'll just pop it into here. Do you know what I mean? And this is, and again, game state management. Liverpool, come on, come on. This is silly. This is very, very silly, man. This is childish. It's very, very Sunday league-ish. Very Sunday league football right here from Liverpool. Like, what? One, two. These are all the highlight Liverpool players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Take away the goalkeeper, right? 9. So there's only 2 players back. There's only 2. Come on, that like pathetic, absolutely pathetic from Liverpool, and they deserve to concede a goal, in that kind of situation, kind of thing, and so said, so you know what I mean, so said, so done, kind of thing, it's just, yeah, that for me, like I said, it was just, yeah, it's just these kind of situations. Obviously, this is the first, and this is obviously the goal here, and this is obviously when Liverpool were, I think it's the same, yeah, 76, yeah. So this is when obviously Bournemouth scored that. The first, no, the first or the second? First, yes. So first, second, yeah. Sorry, I was getting my brain mixed up. But like 2 different situations, they're so similar in terms of how Liverpool obviously set up. Obviously, this is just more about game state situation. This is more about the actual setup in itself. And I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, bruh, Liverpool, like, yeah, like I said, man, as I said before, I just don't like the setup with like this anyway, because it leaves these kind of spaces. But this isn't even really even about setup. This is just more. This is just pathetic, like game state situation. Like, why are you all up here? But listen, man, it's one of those. I'm not even gonna say it is what it is, but like I'll show you guys here quickly. Let's get this up. So one of the things I was just kind of looking at. We start from here. Boom. So you guys can obviously see here. these are the kind of things that will obviously inevitably happen. If that ball gets played into like Brooks, for example, into those areas, it's going to be not impossible, but Bournemouth are going to have enough players going forward in order to be able to, affect play from there. Then it is really about the individual. And I get it. Liverpool like to play, in terms of we trust 1v1s and all of these kind of things. And yeah, that's all understandable. But the reality is, wait, you are banking, like you are severely banking on like a set few players to be really fit in these kind of situations, because the depth behind that isn't going to be able to deal with this consistently enough anyway, kind of thing. So if Liverpool were to lose a Virgil van Dijk, game done. You can forget about that Liverpool defense, regardless of whether we get in Mark Guehi or not. The defense is going to be just to shits regardless. Then you're still looking at Frimpong. Conor Bradley's not as fast as Frimpong going back there. Andrew Robertson, as we saw for the goal that we obviously conceded, he's not as quick as Kirkes. So again, these are the situations that you're going to find yourself in. Midfield, the midfield is just the midfield in itself. They're all kind of the samey in terms of their own ability. So you're going to kind of get the same result regardless. And again, like I said, this is what frustrates me the most about watching Liverpool, is that it doesn't seem to be something that, I would say is a difficult thing to kind of understand, if I'm being totally honest with you. And I know on a slot, listen, look, he's the manager, he's the guy who knows what he's doing, right? He's spoken about this. Spoke about this after the Crystal Palace game. He's spoken about this after the Bournemouth game. And I'm just sitting there thinking, at some point, like, when is it just going to click with the players? Or is it him, you know what I mean, in terms of what he's trying to get the team to do, going forward? I don't really know, man. But in terms of going forward, like I said, there were some nice bits with Liverpool. There was some good football with Liverpool going forward. You can see here, obviously, with our midfield that we had at the weekend, you can see with McAllister, he was always like the spare man in that midfield. And in turn, with McAllister obviously always being that spare man, it then allowed for Florian Wirtz to then be able to, find space. And then when Florian Wirtz is finding space, and when we have that +1 in the midfield, it allows for Ekatike also to be able to drop in. Once he drops in, you've now got the players who are a lot closer together, and then they can all link up. So whether it's McAllister, Wirtz, Hugo Ekatike, or Zabodalai, Ekatike, Wirtz, whoever, like it's the triangles and the team and the patterns of play are always there. Got no problem. Do you know what I mean? With that, you can see with Ekatike, and I was about to put that there, Ekatike and Florian Wirtz, when we've got that +1 in the midfield, it allows for those players to be able to find that space for them to be able to arrive, and then Liverpool can go. As we saw with Ekatike in the game, he was picking up the ball, he was dropping deep, he was linking up play really, really well, right? Why? Because you had this situation happening a lot, and Bournemouth weren't really able to handle that because Adams wasn't really following McAllister at times, or following Florian Wirtz, should I say, at times. Wirtz was finding the space. He was able to pop the ball off. He was able to turn, do his thing. Again, once he starts doing that, and Ekatike then drops into these spaces as well, it was making it difficult because Bournemouth were obviously set up in this kind of 4-1-4-1, kind of formation. So 4-5-1 effectively, but yeah, it was like a 4-1-4-1 with Adams obviously behind that midfield, but in front of the defense in his own kind of gap. Problem is that Liverpool were always finding space in between those. So they will find the space in front of the 4, and then they would find the space in behind, the 4 in itself. So then it would usually leave Adams kind of on his own, and then it's down to their fullbacks to be able to kind of drop in and help out, and etc. etc. So like I said, going forward for Liverpool, it was good. I did actually like it. I did think, okay, yeah, no, Liverpool going forward, you can see it's kind of working. You can see the link up play. You can see the players, they kind of seemingly understand, what they need to be doing. But unfortunately for me, and I think the key word here that a lot of people keep saying, rest defense, that's going to be a problem for Liverpool. And I mean, unless Arne Slot is going to completely kind of change it, I don't really see it being that much different going forward. Like, I don't like. I saw a lot of people mentioning, oh, Ryan Gravenberch. If he was here, what would Ryan Gravenberch have done? I really don't get it. Like, I'm not even trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be snide. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just trying to understand, what do you think he would have done in those kind of situations? Like, in him specifically in those situations, what would he have done? That's the bit that I find a little bit confusing. But listen, it is what it is. As I say, Liverpool got the victory, scored the goals, I think, listen, if you're a betting man, Liverpool to win, both teams to score. I think if you'll probably do that majority of the season, and you'll probably win those bets. You'll probably win more than you would lose. I can totally imagine. So yeah, I think again, Liverpool still got quite a few things to work on. It's still the kind of same things, same thing we spoke about in the other, tactic show. So yeah, I think that's the only thing that's frustrating me at this current moment in time with Liverpool. And I'm hoping moving forward that Liverpool will be able to, kind of correct this, because I think if they can correct this and just be a little bit, not even a little bit more, just defensively solid, I think Liverpool will win the league title. But if not, this is where I'm looking at Liverpool and I'm thinking, yeah, it's going to take too long for you potentially to gel and all of that kind of stuff, right? So let's wait and see when it comes to Liverpool. Let's obviously wait and see. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below in terms of the performance. Obviously, we've got the 3 points, so that's obviously a really, really good thing. That was kind of that, plus maybe the attacking movement was like plus points for me. But I feel like there's more negatives behind all of that. But as they say, the overarching point is to get the 3 points, and Liverpool were able to do that. And I know I keep reiterating that, but I know I have to, because I know some people, yeah, we can't have nuanced conversations. So yeah, I know I have to keep reiterating myself just so that the people out there who don't like those kind of conversations can understand. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, the good, the bad, the ugly. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll catch you guys very, very soon on the next tactical show, man. Peace.